listen actively to identify the real issues through clarification and confirmation techniques. Correct negative behavior through the use of a 5-step constructive criticism process that ensures long-term commitment. Background. Criticism is, at worst, a weapon to wield. At best, it's a way to improve behavior. Professional leaders must always veer towards the latter, and at the heart of interpersonal skills is the ability to change destructive or negative behavior. The leader's job is to give constructive criticism and manage conflict. Conflict within an organization creates hostility between persons and increases stress. To what level conflict escalates to an untenable position is often determined by the will of both parties to come to an agreeable resolution. The aim is to reach a win-win situation before the conflict gets out of hand. This calls for basic interpersonal skills. Whether an employee is angry about his or her performance review, with the company benefits, or with the organization, the manager requires skills to reduce the tension and move the employee back on track. Called interpersonal business skills, these attributes do not come naturally. A leader must acquire them. As such, their importance should not be underestimated. Interpersonal skills are the glue that holds an organization together. Trainers of managers, supervisors, and team leaders is an ongoing process to develop and maintain interpersonal skills to meet the demands of conducting business in a team environment. Everyone has their own style when it comes to reacting on an interpersonal basis. Sometimes, an individual's style is not the proper fit for the organization, or conditions in the new workplace change so dramatically that new methods and skills in communications must be developed to deal with workplace situations. Personalities are part of a person's character, and there are many who say that personalities cannot be developed. Rather than trying to develop a personality, teach processes to get the job done. A sign of leadership is to make unpopular decisions. It goes with the territory, as is having a so-called thick skin. All leaders have, at one time or another, rolled over in their minds a tough decision, one that conflicts with them and has grave consequences. Professional leaders must all keep the big picture in focus and act in the best interest of the employer. For this reason, a leader should never take sides by agreeing or disagreeing with an employee who is angry with the company. Doing so undermines a sense of impartiality. If a manager agrees too readily with an employee, the manager places himself in the uncomfortable position of going against the company. Disagreeing, however, raises the possibility of escalating the conflict into a battle of words. Remember, we are not trying to change an individual's values, attitudes, or beliefs, but to change behavior. We are attempting to not make the interaction personal, but look at the situation in the context of the organization's goals. Here then is a process, or the techniques, which will improve or enhance interpersonal skills in workplace issues. The 4 C's. Here is a step-by-step process to solving problems, bad behavior, or conflict. To solve a problem, it is important to understand what the real problem is. The real problem may not be evident, so the situation will have to be investigated to determine what the real problem is. For example, say an employee bursts into the manager's office and says, "This job stinks. I'll never get this filing finished." Here you have an employee who is excited and emotional. The first thing that a manager must do is calm this person down and have them calmly describe the circumstances which were the reasons for the outburst, which is our first C, clarify. First, they must clarify the situation. Clarifying helps gain more information about what has been said and why, and also ensures that there is a clear and mutual understanding of the situation by both the manager and the employee. This requires a skill called active listening. This means listening closely to what the person has to say, but prodding them along with comments such as, "Yes, okay," and nodding in agreement to let them know you are listening, taking it all in, and are interested in what they are saying. To identify the problem, you must clarify the situation. Why should we clarify? Clarifying helps you gain more information about what has been said and or why. Clarifying ensures that there is mutual and clear understanding. Clarifying helps in the decision-making process. How to clarify? Refer to what has been said and ask for more information. For example, you said X. Could you please tell me more about that? And when you said X, what did you mean? The second C is confirm. Once the situation has been clarified and you think you understand the real problem, it is now time to confirm the problem. How do you do this? Here's some examples. So if I understand what you're saying, or what you were saying, or so you feel that, once you have confirmed, you should summarize the situation. Summarizing helps to create common ground for decision making and ensures that decision making is based on available information. How to summarize. Here's some examples. So, the situation is that X. Is that how you see it? So now we have identified the problem by clarifying to get all the information, confirmed the information and situation, and summarized to ensure mutual understanding. Now, you can solve problems based on all the information gathered and reach consensus on a solution. The third C is crediting. This step involves giving credit to the individual. Why we credit? To promote repetition of good behavior, to create an atmosphere that motivates subordinates to excel, and to keep the lines of communication open between manager and subordinate. When not to credit. You do not credit someone if they have done their job. They are expected to do it and they get paid for it. When to credit. Credit when performance standards have been exceeded. Try to give credit in an open forum. Imprint your style. Recognizes employees' efforts. Motivates them. It sends a message that you don't use favoritism. Credibility. This refers to the credibility of the credit. You should credit an employee when they know what they're being credited for. Obviously, you don't credit for everything the employee does, but you do credit when a good job has been done. For example, performance standards exceeded. There is a process to crediting an employee. 1. Focus on the event. 2. Show how the standards were met or exceeded. And 3. Show the impact on the department and or the company. For example, a shipment sent earlier than expected. The final C is criticism. The next step is constructive criticism. Another interpersonal skill that is very important to a manager or supervisor is constructive criticism. We use constructive criticism to redirect or modify a subordinate's behavior and or suggestions, and retain good parts of the behavior or suggestion and modify others without building resentment. Many managers and supervisors often use destructive criticism. For example, supervisor criticizes an employee in front of others or tears a strip off them, belittling their effort and walks away. Remember, praise in public, criticize in private. Constructive criticism is a business method that should be conducted in a formal meeting with only the supervisor and or manager present. Here's a tip. Have an agenda ready and stick to the order. Why stick to the order? To keep process on track, carry out all steps, and keep the situation from getting out of hand. Here's the criticism process. 1. State the purpose of the meeting. Don't use the word I or you. Never personalize. Always focus on the problem, not the person. 2. Credit the employee's achievements using the crediting method discussed earlier. You want to maintain the good things and the good behavior. 3. Raise concerns and show the impact of the concerns on the department or organization. No I or you again. Here we're concerned about impact of not meeting the objective. Tie it into the performance standard or objective. Here's an example. By not getting here on time, it placed a load on another, or not being able to answer the phone. We say our hours are 8 to 5. If they get a recording at 8:10, it makes the company look bad, or we may miss an order. 4. Develop action plans and set standards. I need from you an action plan and a time frame for a solution. Handle the same way in a team setting. They must get involved in the solution or they'll let everything slide. 5. Set a date for the next meeting. This is very important. Set standards for action plans. Show that you will follow up. For example, say, we will meet 1 week from today to check out arrival times. Be here at 8 a.m. at the desk with your coffee and all equipment up and ready to go. Please take some time now to work through exercise 1 found in your handouts for this module. Managing differences. Central to most conflict is poor communication and stress. Conflict can be between employee and supervisors, between employees themselves, and between the employee and the customer. Typical problems involve interpersonal relationships. In today's business environment, business is done at a distance on the phone. This often results in customers acting rude or arrogant. The CSR response is to become equally aggressive. That is not what we want, as it generates conflict. This is a 6-step process used to resolve situations where differences of opinion or approach exist. The process should be conducted in a business meeting setting with only the manager and employees present. 1. The manager or team leader states his or her position. The manager must state his or her position on the situation. Their position, for example, may be based on organizational policy or recognized procedure. Using the customer service rep's position, the team leader might state his or her position as follows. Our customer service policy is very clear on how we are to handle customer follow-up calls. 2. The employee states his or her position. The employee must be given fair opportunity to state his or her position, and the manager must listen closely to the subordinate's position and not be thinking of the next part of his or her argument. 3. Invite suggestions. Once the subordinate has stated his or her position, the manager should invite suggestions without barriers. Without barriers simply means that the manager should allow the subordinate to offer his or her suggestion without prejudging, interrupting, etc. This includes not showing negative body language or disgusting looks, rolling of eyes. Try to anticipate the response from the employee and be prepared. 4. Make suggestions. The manager makes suggestions without barriers. This could mean the manner in which the manager states the suggestions. For example, the tone of voice, not in an accusing manner. 5. Check the validity of the idea. The next step is to check the validity of the employee's idea. Is it within policy? Is it a better method than the one presently in use? And finally, 6. End the discussion by acknowledging their position. The manager states his or her position and why. A course of action and a follow-up to date to review if the resolution is adequate. The manager should take minutes of this meeting and include a copy in the employee's file, as it may become necessary documentation in a discipline or termination process. Please take some time now to work through exercise 2, found in your handouts for this module.